Oh, you know what? It helps if I push my talk button in. I was the problem there.
Okay, I was like, I'm still not hearing you, Kevin.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Cool, thanks.
I'm on a new pack too, so I'm just double checking people can hear production.
I got you here, Jonathan.
Okay, cool.
All right, cameras. Let's do an amazing, fun job here for the 11 o'clock. Let's do a roll call, starting with camera 1. Are you on comms?
She's not back from her meeting yet. She will be.
Okay, copy that. Camera 2.
She's firing up right now. Hang on.
Copy that. Do we have?
Sorry, I turned off. I'm here.
Not a worry. All right, 4 there.
It's like we
Five.
kind of know what we're doing.
Camera 5.
Camera 5's here.
Thank you. Camera 6.
Camera 6 is here.
Thank you. And camera 7. I just saw you walk down.
Base is good. Jimmy, that vocal thing.
All right.
Camera 1 and graphics are headed up.
Cool. Thank you.
Are we recording on audio?
Audio recording.
Okay. Is Shelby back?
Yep, she is walking up right now.
Okay, cool.
She's here.
This is 1.
Awesome. Thank you, 1.
Jim?
Ray, I have you on comms, right?
Run up there.
Kevin, did you talk to Savannah as well?
Brandon, did you check Ableton?
1.
Yeah, I'm here. Just having trouble transmitting for some reason.
No worries. I see your. Thank you for the response. I see your feed on 7.
Rhythm guitar is good.
Jonathan, I have a full roll call up here.
Not specifically. I hear a small. Can you play normal sounds, Andy?
Okay, hang tight.
Thank you. Savannah,
upstairs
just heads
is
up,
good.
When Brandon starts praying, you can walk off stage. And then I think, Becca, are you grabbing the guitar? Cool, thanks. We are 1 minute out.
All right, guys, upstairs we're locked and loaded. Audio locked and loaded. We are good to go there. All right, guys, we're about 40 seconds out.
All right, cameras, we are 30 seconds out. We're starting with Take You at Your Word, and we're going to be going to camera 1 first for Welcome Journey on Brandon, and then 5 and 6 for big drum hits and keys.
You know, you live
All
in.
right,
Okay.
15 seconds out for the first of 2 videos. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go video.
Go
You
ahead.
know you live in Montana when in between services you help a
Hey
kid
Journey,
sing
Brittany here.
Mamas
We have
Don't
a
Let
really
Your
fun
Babies
event
Grow Up
coming
to
up for the
Be
comments, and I want to make sure
Cowboys
that you know about it.
for an
Michael Jr.
FFA
and his wife
talent show.
are bringing the Funny How Marriage Works tour to our building. It's a great way for all of us to grow in relationships, something that affects us all, and most of us could
What's
grow
weird
in that
is
area.
I'm like, this is
They
how
do a
that
great
melody
job
goes.
of using comedy to bring clarity
I'm like
to
teaching them how the
something that
melody
matters.
goes. I'm like,
They just added a 4:30 show because the 7:30 sold out so fast. So don't wait to grab your tickets online for Saturday, April 6th, the weekend after Easter. There's also childcare available for this event. You just need to select that when you grab your tickets online at journeybozeman.com/funny, and make sure that you use our discount code LAUGH.
Hey Journey, I wanted to let you know about our Good Friday gathering here on March 29th. This is a special time of worship communion, and a message to help us connect with the reality of Jesus' death on the cross and all that means for us as Christ followers. No tickets are required, and there'll be no children's ministry that evening. Everyone is welcome to join us here at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. And then that same weekend on Saturday and Sunday, we're excited to worship God with you and celebrate Jesus at our Easter gatherings. Here's a couple important reminders. You'll need to select free tickets for the auditorium as well as separate tickets for any preschool-age children that you'll check into base camp. This helps us make sure we have room for everyone across all 4 gathering times. If you're a regular attender around here, we'd love it if you'd select tickets for one of the Saturday gatherings to make room for guests that come on Sunday. I'm excited to share all the Easter worship music we've been working on as we celebrate baptisms and all that God's been doing in the life of our church.
We are coming out to you live.
4.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome when you're live.
Good morning, Journey. Welcome. We're excited to have you with us. Let's
5,
stand
here we
together.
go.
Let's prepare our hearts.
Ready,
Let's worship
5.
and celebrate.
Take 5. Ready,
Verse
1. Take 1.
Is a lamp unto
Ready, 2.
my feet.
Take 2.
Your way is
Ready,
the
4.
only way for me.
Pre-chorus
Take 4.
1.
Narrow road that leads to life.
Ready,
And I
7.
wanna be on it.
Ready, 1.
It's a narrow
Take
road,
1.
but the mercy's wide, 'cause you're good on your promise.
Ready, 2.
I'll
Take 2.
take you at your word.
Ready, 4.
You said it, I'll
Take 4.
believe it. I've seen how good
Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, take 1.
and the chaos fell
Ready,
in
2.
line.
Take 2.
I know, 'cause
Ready,
I've
5.
seen it in
Take
my
5.
life.
Ready, 7.
Pre-chorus 2.
Narrow
Take 7.
road that leads to life, but I wanna be on
Ready, 4. Take 4.
Oh, it's a narrow
Ready, 1.
road, and the tide is high, but
Take
you
1.
parted the water.
Awesome. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 7. Take 7. Nice. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 2. Take 2.
Bridge 1.
Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2.
Bridge 2.
Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 7. take 7. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 2, take 2. Ready, 5, take 5. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 7, take 7. Ready, 2, take 2. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 2, take 2. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 7, take 7. Nice. Ready, 2, take 2. Ready, 5, take 5. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 7, take 7. Ready, 4, take 4. Ready, 6, take 6. Ready, 1, take 1. Ready, 4, take 4. Ready, 2, take 2. Ready, 5, take 5. Ready, 4, ready, 2, take 2. Awesome, cameras. We're going to song 2, resurrender. 6 on keys.
2. Intro.
And
2.
ready, 6.
3. 4.
Take 6.
Verse 1.
Ready, 1. Take 1.
Over tables and calling for
Ready, 4.
to our lives upon the altar.
Take 4.
Things we did at first. You're clearing out the temple. You're cleaning
7.
out the dirt.
Take 7.
For we are your territory. Lord,
Chorus
we
1.
are your
Ready, 1.
church.
Take 1.
We are your people. You are our God.
Ready, 2.
We are your temple.
Turn around.
Take 2.
Make us holy like you are.
Ready, 4. Ready, 1. Ready, 7. Take 7.
Verse 2.
Ready,
Drums
1.
in.
Take 1.
See a holy nation, a flock to consecrate.
Ready,
A
6.
chosen generation,
Take 6.
a people called to pray.
Ready, 2. Take 2.
Help us, God, to please you, where only you can
Ready, 7. Take 7.
every moment matters in
Ready,
each
4.
All in.
Take 4.
We are your people. You are
Ready,
our
2.
God.
Take 2.
We are your temple.
Chorus 2.
Make us holy
Ready, 7.
like you
Take
are.
7.
We are your children.
Ready, 1. Take 1.
You set us apart. God, for your glory.
Ready,
Interlude.
7.
Breakdown.
Take 7. Ready, 6. Take 6.
Verse 3.
Ready, 1. Take 1.
Mark your people.
Ready, 7.
With your presence.
Take 7.
Make us a place where you delight to
Ready, 2.
dwell.
Take 2.
May we heed your hand's correction.
Ready,
Oh,
6.
Lord, our shepherd, you do
Take
Verse
6.
4.
all things
Drums
well.
Ready,
in.
1. Take 1.
Love as firm as is tender. Your law is perfect.
Ready, 7.
Your judgment's true.
Take 7.
As we
Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5.
you will restore what we return to you.
5. Take 5.
You are restoring us.
Ready, 2.
Verse 1.
Take 2. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 7. Take 7. So, ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Awesome, sorry, 5. Ready, 1. Take 1.
Breakdown.
Ready, 7. Take 7.
God, we need resurrender.
Bridge.
So we
Ready, 4.
resurrender.
Take
If
4.
you're calling, we're coming. We're not walking.
Ready, 6.
We're running. God, we need resurrender.
Take 6.
2.
So we resurrender. If
Take 1.
you're calling, we're coming.
It's a cool shot, 6.
Not walking, we're running.
Ready, 4.
God, we need resurrender.
Bridge.
So we resurrender.
Take 4.
If you're calling, we're coming. We're
Ready,
not
2.
walking. God, we
Take 2.
need you. We need resurrender.
Bridge.
So
Ready,
we
1.
resurrender.
Take 1.
If you're calling, we're coming.
Ready, 5.
Not walking, we're running.
Take 5.
God, we
Ready, 7.
surrender.
Bridge.
Take 7.
Last time.
Surrender.
Ready, 1.
We're coming.
Take 1.
We're not walking, we're
Ready, 2.
God, we need resurrender.
Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, set. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1.
Breakdown.
You're calling, we're coming. We're
Ready,
not
2.
walking, we're running.
Take 2.
God, we need resurrender.
Bridge.
Ready, 7.
So we resurrender.
Take 7.
If you're calling, we're coming. We're not walking, we're running.
Ready, 1.
God,
Take
we
1.
need resurrender.
Ending.
So we
2, we're coming to you for transition here. Actually, transition on 3. Alright, we're going to the last song here. Cameras.
1.
Got camera 6 on
2.
keys. Starting
1,
off.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Ready,
6.
6. Take 6. Ready, 1.
Verse 1.
Take 1.
I know who I am, 'cause I know who you are.
Ready, 4.
The cross
Take 4.
of salvation was only the start.
Ready, 7.
Now I am chosen,
Take 7.
free and forgiven. I have a
Ready, 1.
future,
Take 1.
and it's worth the living.
Chorus.
Ready, 2.
I was made to be
Take 2.
in a grave. I was called by name, born and raised back to
Ready, 6.
life again. I was made
Take 6.
for
Ready, 1. Take one.
Why would I make a bed in my shame when a fountain of
37.
grace is running my way? I know
Take 7.
I am yours, and I was made for more.
32.
Verse 2.
Take 2.
In.
34. Take 4. 31. Take 1. 37. Take 7. 36. Take 6. 31. Take 1. 5. Sam 1. 35. Take 5. 37. Take 7. 32. Take 2. 36. Take 6. Nice, 6. 31. Take 1. 37. Take 7. 32. Take 2. 31. Take 1. 35. Take 5. 37. Take 7. 34. Take 4. 31. Take 1. 32. 2. 37. Take 7. 36. Take 6. 32. Take 2. 31. Take 1. 35. Take 5. 31. Take 1. 37. And 35. Stay in this. Take 5. 32. Take 2. 37. Take 7. 34. Take 4. 31. Take 1. 32. Take 2. 37. Take 7. 31. Take 1. 34. Take 4. 36. Take 6. 32. Take 2. 35. Take 5. 31. Take 1. 37. Take 7. 32. Take 2. 31. Take 1. 34. Take 4. 37. Take 7. 35. Take 5. 32. Take 2. 31. Take 1. 36. Nope. 32. Take 2. 37.
You're ready for host here.
Take 7.
Why would I make a bed in my shame?
1, you're freed up for host. I guess it is him, but yep.
Yeah.
7, you're still live. And cut to 2, you're live.
Amen.
And
God, we thank you for the calling
1,
that
you're live.
you've given us, that you have on our lives, the the plan that you have, your hopes and dreams for us, and how you are moving in our lives. We know that if things aren't good yet, that you're not done yet. And God, we thank you for your promises, the hope we have in you and your Son, and the new life that we have ahead of us, and the old life that's behind us. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. You can have a seat.
And start speaking.
Ooh, that was better.
Welcome. We're excited to have you with us this morning, especially if you're new, welcome. And if you're joining us online, a special welcome to you. My name is Brandon Edwards. I'm one of the pastors here on staff. And I have 3 things that I want to update you on today. First, it's Easter week. And this Friday, we have a Good Friday worship gathering in this room at 6 p.m. There'll be a little extra worship because there's communion, and we'll have a Good Friday message. So you don't want to miss that. Hope to see you here at 6 p.m. on Friday. There's no tickets for that. And then the next day and the day after that are Easter worship gatherings. It's Easter weekend, next weekend. So we have 2 worship gatherings on Saturday at 3 and 5, and on Sunday at normal times at 9 and 11. But you need to get tickets. So if you haven't gotten tickets yet, be sure to get those. And if you have family or friends you're bringing to Easter, be sure to get them tickets too. Now, if you're in this room right now, you are a regular attender. We consider you a regular attender at Journey. And so we're inviting you to consider to come on Saturdays. This Saturday, 3 and 5. To come Saturday, Easter weekend, it's a lot easier to get the kids ready at 3 in the afternoon. So love for you to come at 3 and 5. The reason we do that is it opens up space for guests who don't even know there's a Saturday worship gathering, or they're coming on Easter Sunday, or they've never been to church or haven't been to church in a long time. It opens up spots for them on Sunday. And the reason we do tickets is it spreads out our attendance over the 4 gatherings so that everybody doesn't just show up at the same time to 1 gathering or 2 gatherings. So please be sure to do that. Please consider coming Saturday.
Awesome.
It makes
Thank
Sunday
you, Ray.
morning a lot less stressful. You can just enjoy the time with your family. Now, if the third thing that we wanted to update you on is Bangladesh. We just got back from Bangladesh a few weeks ago. We had a missions team go that I got to lead. And the deal with Bangladesh is we had a pastor come from there a few years ago and visit us. And then he invited us to do ministry over there and to go on a trip. And Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries in the world. It also has a very high population. There are 180 million people in a country the size of Iowa, which is about 1/3 the size of Montana. 180 million people. That's about half the population of the United States in a place 1/3 the size of Montana. So it's very overpopulated, very poor, and it's a predominantly Muslim country. Over 91% of people in the country are Muslim. It's right next to India. And it's the rest are Hindu, and then there's less than 1% Christian. So people we consider it an unreached country, because if you just go there, you will not be able to find Christians. There aren't churches on the corner, and the vast majority of people have not heard about Jesus. They don't know the Christian message. And so it's an unreached country. And he invited us to come and do a worship missions outreach. So what that is, a very unique thing where we did a concert to over 3,000 Muslims. And we did a worship concert and then shared a gospel message. You'll see that in a video that we're going to show in a moment. And I want to give you a couple highlights so that you know what you're seeing in the video. First, one of the other things that they had us do was they had us teach their pastors that oversee the whole country. So there are about 80 pastors that oversee and 100 house churches each. So we ended up teaching them for 2 days and doing worship with them. You'll see those guys in the room. And then there is an underground Muslim converts church in the country that they also asked Derry to teach. That's what he created his curriculum for, a discipleship curriculum that he talked about 2 months ago. And then we also led them in worship, so you'll see them there. And then there's a lot of kids ministries. So our first kids ministry that we worked with, you'll see 87 girls, and they're from the East Coast, the Hill Tracts region. It's the poorest part of the country. It's a rural area. Parents are day laborers, and girls are being kidnapped and trafficked. And so the parents are sending their kids to a safe Christian school in the city where they're taking care of them, teaching them, and you'll see that. There's an opportunity to support that. There's also about 20 girls that have been saved out of a brothel before they were trafficked. They were born and raised in the brothel up to a certain age. They saved them out, and they're also in a separate safe house home Christian school that you have an opportunity to support. And they have room for 50. There's about 20 now. So if those girls get supported, then there's opportunity to save more. And then the other big one on the southeast coast is there is a refugee camp, the largest refugee camp in the world, the Myanmar refugees. There's 1.2 million refugees on 600 acres. So that's 2,000 people per acre. So we got to visit them this time. They have a kids' school outreach, and they bring food and supplies down there and do a kids' school. We got to visit them. You'll see that in the video. So here's our trip to Bangladesh.
All right, go video.
ঠিক আছে, praise the Lord, oh my soul. ঠিক আছে এটা?
Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Again. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Good? I praise in the valley, praise on the mountain. I praise when I'm sure, praise when I'm doubting. I praise when outnumbered, praise when surrounded. 'Cause praise is the waters my enemies drowning. As long as I'm breathing, I've got a reason to praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I praise when I feel it, I praise when I don't. I praise 'cause I know you're still in control. My praise is a weapon. It's more than a sound. My praise is the shout that brings Jericho down. As long as I'm breathing, I've got a reason to praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I won't be quiet, my God is alive. How could I keep it inside? Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I praise 'cause you're sovereign, praise 'cause you reign, praise 'cause you rose and defeated the grave. I praise 'cause you're faithful, praise 'cause you're true, praise 'cause there's nobody greater than you. I praise 'cause you're sovereign, praise 'cause you reign, praise 'cause you rose and defeated the grave. I praise 'cause you're faithful, praise 'cause you're true, praise 'cause there's nobody greater than you. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise
we're coming back to you.
It's coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks, Journey. And the way we get to go over there is because you sent us. The people fundraise, part of our giving goes towards missions
Hold
and
off on the
partnerships.
QR
We were
code.
able
It
to give them
says,
a
talks
gift
about supporting
at the
kids.
end, and they're able to use that for those ministries to the Hill Tracks kids. And so thanks so much for supporting and sending us. And I wanted to give you an opportunity. This link that's coming up is
QR.
a way to support either of those girl groups. So the ones that are saved out of the brothel, to make room for more to be saved out of the brothel. And also the Hill Tracks girls that are being protected from kidnapping, and they're both in safe schools and protected. You can just follow that link, fill out the form, and I'll follow up with how to support that ministry. And the reason that we are going to places
Just so you
like
know, my mute button
Bangladesh
is sticking on
or
this.
Ethiopia,
The mute button
or
is
the
sticking on
youth
this
group
one,
going to
just
Bolivia
FYI.
this year, youth group team
Copy
going
that.
to
Thank you,
Bolivia,
Jonathan.
is we want to have a focused mission to each area of the world. So we have something happening in every major time zone around the world, so that every moment of the day, for instance, Bangladesh is the opposite. It's 13 hours ahead of us. So while we're sleeping, they're reaching people with the gospel, and we're supporting that ministry. And so we want to be able to support ministry happening 24/7 around the globe. And that's and we want to make a focused difference in each major area. So those are our goals, and that's why we have teams going to those major areas. We want to have partnerships with ministries in those areas. And thank you for supporting those. Next up, Brian Preby is going to be speaking on a 2-week series in Philippians.
All right, go video. Coming back in 15 here. And then Luke, let me know if we need to adjust camera 7 at all.
Okay, will do.
It kind of looked a little off center from the shot earlier.
Sounds good. Camera 1, we're coming to you.
All right, we're going live, guys.
I have got a question for you as we kind of get started this morning. And that question is, what in your life right now matters most? What in your life matters most? I think for any of us who've been around for any length of time, we know that thing that matters most today has a tendency to kind of come and go over the seasons of life. As things change, as things happen, the thing that matters most in our life has a tendency to move.
Right now.
Okay, perfect.
I know when I first graduated from college and started my first profession, for those that don't know, I spent a couple decades as a college basketball coach.
What it is.
It looks better on
my
like a smidge better.
To me what mattered
I
most.
did barely touch
I
it.
wanted to climb the coaching ladder.
Thank you, Ray.
That's what mattered most. And to do that, I knew that we had to win a lot of games, and we had to ultimately have players who would
sorry, I was just
go
getting there.
on
Yes, let's
to
check
success.
for.
And so everything
can you
that
go
I
down
would think
headroom?
about was how do
Give me
we
a
win
little
more
less
games,
headroom, just a little
and how
bit.
do we help our players get better and better? And that is what mattered most.
Go
For you
up
today,
just a little bit.
as you sit here today, what
Right there,
matters
yep.
most? I know for a lot of us, it can be something in our career or profession or our job.
Can you go left
If
just a
you're
hair?
in school, it could be that next degree or your
There,
diploma. The
that's
thing
good.
that matters most is
All
what
right,
you're
you're
doing
good to step down. Thank
in
you.
that way. For lots of us, it can be family. Family can be the thing that matters most at various seasons of life. As we age, we have a tendency to lock a little bit more on
Sounds good.
financial
Thank you, Juan.
security and where are we going to be financially as life progresses. There's other times in life where it's friends, it's fun, it's fitness, it's recreation. Any of those things can be the thing that becomes the most important thing in a given season of life. And so I ask you, what is that thing for you right now? Paul, who wrote a good portion of the New Testament, Paul is writing a letter to the church at Philippi, Philippians, and when he does that, he's reflecting on his younger days. He's thinking back to what life was like before Jesus entered his life, and he's thinking about what mattered most. And as he starts that reflection, he says this. He says, if someone else thinks that they have reason to put confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews. In regards to the law, a Pharisee. As for zeal, persecuting the church. As for righteousness based on the law, faultless. Paul's laying out his case. He valued most, what mattered most to Paul as a younger man was effectively his career, that he was a Pharisee. He was a man of God, a religious leader, and that was the thing that mattered most. And he lays out that resume, and he's like, I was pretty good. Did a really good job at the thing I was doing. But I think for all of us, as, again, we go through life, we think about that thing that mattered most at a particular season, and it comes to us and we go, is that still the thing? Does that really matter most today? And we have that ebb and flow. I know for me, in
Hey,
that
Ray, are you on
coaching
comms?
element, I was just going through
Go ahead,
life
Luke.
as it mattered
Could
most.
you give me a little
and
less
pretty early in
headroom
my
and, like,
career,
zoom in
we were
just
able
a
to win a
smidge?
championship.
Thank you.
And that checked that box. That added to the resume. I had players who had gone to the NBA, players that played for their Olympic teams, players that went overseas. Check, check, check. The resume was being built. And the thing that mattered most was there. But there was just this kind of time that is this what matters most? I remember after we won that first championship.
That's
I went
really
into the
good there,
gym
Ray.
that
Can you
night,
check the
and
focus?
The lights were off and the place was empty. And I just remember
Yep.
standing there like, is this really, this is what it's about? Is this really what I want to give everything
Go a little
to?
bit back.
And I think as Paul kind of is going through his remembering of his days as a Pharisee,
You're still not in
he's
focus
kinda
though,
hits
Ray.
that
Can you
same
go back
point
on the
where he
focus
starts
wheel?
to think about, is this really what matters most? And I'm just going to read you just a
It's so
couple of
touchy at this
things that he
range.
said, just
Yeah,
some
it is.
snippets of what he said right after he listed his
Yep,
resume.
you're good there.
He says, but whatever
Perfect,
were
Ray.
gains,
You like the zoom?
whatever was
Yep,
on that
zoom's
resume
perfect.
that was gains, to me,
Awesome.
I now consider
Thank you so
loss.
much, Ray.
And then he goes on,
Anytime.
he says, what is more, I consider everything a loss. I've lost all things. He says to them, I consider them garbage. Paul realized, looking back, that the thing he would have said absolutely mattered most in his life was now a loss. It was garbage. It was worthless. And when I add the context of these verses, everything that he says, you'll see what he's thinking mattered most. Verse 7, but whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage, that I may gain Christ and be found in him. Paul is on this road. He's traveling through life, and he's looking back at it, and he's thinking about he was on the road that mattered most, and then Christ interrupted his life. And at that moment when Christ interrupted his life, things began to change for him. You see, Paul didn't just get to that moment and Christ interrupted his life and then say, hey, Jesus, how about you hop in the back here because I'm on this sweet path that we're just going to keep rolling on. Paul actually says, no, I'm going to move to the passenger seat. Jesus, you need to now drive the bus. You need to lead me where you're going. You need to move me forward in the way that you would have me go. And I think for a lot of us, there's a point in life where we need to analyze, is the thing that I think matters most really the thing that matters most? Or is there something else? Again, Paul, that road he's on, that road leads right to the center of power. He's got authority. He's got respect. He's gonna be a guy with status. Like he is on the fast track of life. But as he travels down that road and Jesus interrupts, all of a sudden, now Paul, the next time we see him, which is a couple years later, what he is a traveling preacher. He's now effectively the first missionary. He's getting persecuted and attacked. He's shipwrecked and jailed and beaten. He was on a road of respectability, and now he is just an outcast away from anything that has to do with power or authority. John Piper, who is a theologian in the United States, a fairly famous pastor, as he was analyzing this text, he said this about what Paul was going through. He says, you gain Christ by renouncing everything that competes with him. You gain Christ by renouncing everything that competes with him. Is that where we're at? Is that the way we view our faith? That as we're on that journey, that we hit Christ and now we renounce the things, we consider lost the things that we thought had high value, that we esteemed well in our lives, and we move to this place where we've changed that, and Jesus is the thing that takes that center space. Around Journey, our mission statement is that we together, all of us, lead people to become all-in followers of Jesus. And that idea of being an all-in follower is what Paul is capturing here. This idea that we consider things as lost, that we renounce the things that had value to us in the past, and we move in now to a place where Jesus takes that paramount place. And that change doesn't happen like Paul wasn't going along and all of a sudden, he's now over here. Paul's going along, he meets Jesus. There's like 2 or 3 years where he is away and we don't know what's going on. A lot of people like to say he was at Jesus University. But the backside of that, when he comes out of that, is a different trajectory. He's now on a different path. And that path is focused around what Jesus had for him. And so as we walk through life and we think about that moment where the big church word is transformation, that life for us changes and our soul, our body, our mind begins to be transformed. It begins to be changed into the image that Christ has put before us. When that happens, that's when that trajectory begins to change. And the question is, what is it that's that filter? What is the thing that helps us understand what does the new direction look like? And Jesus lays that out for his disciples. He lays that out for us. He gives very clear commandments. Here is the thing, here's the filter that you need to begin to assess and look at life through, a different lens than maybe you had previously. One of those exchanges happens. A Pharisee comes to him, a religious leader comes to him and challenges him about what's most important. That's effectively the question he asks. What is the most important thing? And Jesus, with his disciples present, answers in this way. Mark 12, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind, and all of your strength. So the first thing is you're going to love God with everything you have. Now, that sounds good. I think that's something that we can understand if we go to John 14, if we go to 1 John 2. It's very clear that the way in which we love God is we obey his commands. We do the things that he asks us to do. We open up our Bible and we read it. And it gives us clear instruction, and then we do the thing we're asked to do. We pray, and the Holy Spirit presses upon us, here's what I need to do next, and then we obey. We do that thing. That's what it means to love God well. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I feel like the Big C church and Christian culture spends a lot of time worried about our obedience and the things that we do. And that's good. We need to do that. I'm not discounting that, but I think at times we overemphasize it to the point that we lose track of the second command that Jesus gives at that moment. Verse 31, the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment, rather, greater than these. So what does that look like? Great, we're supposed to love our neighbor. We're supposed to love people. Love God, love people is often how it's summarized. What does that look like? Like tangibly, how does that play out? Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of people wore these bracelets, WWJD. right? Bumper stickers on cars and WWJD. What would Jesus do? And it was an interesting question that really took over. I think a lot of Christian culture got excited about that. And WWJD, WWJD, what would Jesus do? The issue with that, or maybe what's missing from that, is WWJD, what would Jesus do, is an open-ended question. And I think what a lot of people did is they filled in their own answer. What would Jesus do? Well, this, or that, or this. And a lot of those answers had a tendency to reflect on things that they would do, right? A lot of times when we look at God, if we don't know what he's about, we just look at ourselves and say, oh, he must be like me. And so what would Jesus do? Well, he'd probably do the thing I would do. That was what a lot of people would say effectively with their actions. And there was a response to that about 10 years later that was another bracelet that was trying to answer the question, what would Jesus do? And it was HWLF. He would love first. HWLF. He would love first. What a great response to this open-ended question, what would Jesus do? You know what he would do? He would love first. That's why his command is to love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus was the initiator of love. If you read the Gospels, what you just see over and over and over again is Jesus going to someone where they're at, initiating love, care, and concern for that person. One of my favorite examples of that is in Mark chapter 5. In Mark chapter 5, Jesus is in Jewish territory. He's up in Capernaum. So if this is the Sea of Galilee, Israel is kind of here. He's up in the northwest side of the Sea of Galilee. He and the disciples are there. They're preaching and teaching, etc. And Jesus is called by the Spirit. It doesn't say this, but we just know intuitively, Jesus is called to go love somebody. So he and the disciples get in their boats and they travel 12, 14, 16 hours across the Sea of Galilee to get to this central spot on the east coast, a place called the Decapolis. Now, the Decapolis is not Jewish territory. He's not going to his own people. He's going to different people. But literally, they go all the way across the sea, all night into the next day. They get to the beach. Jesus hops out of the boat onto the beach. There's a guy who comes right up to him immediately, and he has this interaction with this guy, and we don't know how long it lasts, but it doesn't seem like it lasts very long, 15 minutes, a half an hour, maybe an hour max, and they have an interaction, and he meets this guy right where he's at. He's hurting. He needs healing. He needs love. He is ostracized from his people. He is lonely, and everything about his life is miserable. And Jesus spends that hour or whatever with him, and then you know what he does? He immediately gets in the boat. They go right back to where they were. Like, that's how Jesus initiates love with somebody. He loved that person well, even though it was highly inconvenient. Not very efficient ministry when you only got a short amount of time to spend a whole day going over and a half a day coming back to love on one guy. And when I think about Paul, that's what Paul did. Paul was going along, life was good, Jesus interrupts, and then Jesus gets him to love people well. The way that looked for Paul is he became that missionary. He would go to a town and he would establish a church and he would preach and teach and he would raise up leaders. And once that church was kind of self-sufficient, then he would go to the next town, the next place, and he would do the same thing. And over and over and over again. That's how Paul loved people well. That's how he was called to do that. I've never been called to that. I've been on a couple mission trips, but I've never felt called to go be an overseas missionary and do that thing that Paul did. And I don't know if you have or have not. But I don't think that's the point. I think the way in which we live out loving people well, loving our neighbor well, is going to look different based on every single person who's listening to my voice. Ultimately, though, the command to go love well is not optional. That the way it plays out, you have to be obedient and follow God's lead on that. But the command to do that is not optional. It's not a choice you get to make. If you have bent your knee to Jesus and you said, he is Lord of my life, then you must do what he asks, which is to love people well. This is Palm Sunday, and this is Holy Week, as we call it on the Christian calendar. And I know A lot of people love Christmas. Christmas is cool. It's good. Jesus' birth, love it. It's all good. I'm not dissing on Christmas. But Holy Week is where it's at when it comes to Christian calendar. Holy Week is the week in which Jesus comes to Jerusalem to be crucified. Sunday, today, Palm Sunday, he entered the city and he is cheered by the masses. And then he teaches to the masses on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday evening, he has the Last Supper. It's also known as Maundy Thursday. And then that night, he's arrested. He'll be tortured, beaten, put on the cross on Friday, dead on Friday, raises on Sunday. That's Easter. This is the week we call Holy Week and we celebrate. There's a moment in the original Holy Week on Maundy Thursday at the Last Supper when Jesus is talking to the disciples. And as he's talking to them, he's like, fellas, I got a new command for you. And I can only imagine if I was the disciple, you'd be like, oh, we've been with you for 3 years. Like, it's about time. Like, what's the plan? What do we got? I'm ready. Lay it on me. And Jesus says this, John chapter 13, a new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Jesus is really clear what matters most. It's loving people. It's loving one another. It's loving fellow believers. It's loving people that are not believers. It's just expressing the love of Christ over and over and over again. So if that's what matters most, how does that look? Again, how does that play out? Well, let me kind of finish the arc of my coaching story. So I've been doing this for almost 20 years at this point, and it's 2011, and I just felt unsettled. I just kept continuously asking the question, is this really what matters most? We'd had a great season. We ended up having 3 seniors that year. They were all going overseas to play. One of them was actually going to play for his national team to try and qualify for the 2012 Olympics in London. Like, things were good. The resume looked good. But there was this unsettledness in my spirit that just, am I loving people well? Specifically, am I loving my family well? Because the thing that people don't realize, especially about coaching at the collegiate level, is that you work 80 hours a week. I mean, since I was 19 years old, I had never not worked 80 hours a week. That's just life. I didn't know there was another way to live. And so with that, there's tons of travel, 150, 180 days a year. You're on the road between recruiting and what you're doing with your own team. And it's one of those things that I was unsettled with that. And eventually, probably in about January of that season, I realized it was time to step away. I had an opportunity to start a business venture with some people and decided to pursue that. I was in a weird place, though. I mentioned to you I'd never worked under 80 hours a week. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there going, well, like, this business job, like, it's probably going to take, like, 50 hours a week. Well, what am I going to do with these 30 hours a week? Like, I don't even know what to do with that. So literally starting in January, I began to pray about that because I was literally at a loss. I know you're probably thinking I'm not a very bright guy, and you're probably right, but I really felt like I didn't know what to do with that. And so I just kept praying, God, I don't know what to do with these 30 hours. What do you want me to do with these 30 hours? How do I use these 30 hours a week? And ultimately, I felt that the Spirit really convicted me. I want you to use half of that to love your family well, and I want you to use half of that to love the people that I've got you to love, whether they're in the church or in the community, whatever it might be. And so as I left coaching, that was my commitment. That's what I felt like God had called me toward, and that's what I was going to do. And that's the way for me it played out. Again, it's going to play out differently for each and every one of us. But the key to understand is that Jesus commanded us to do this. He didn't request it or ask gently. He commanded us to love people well. So that leads me to kind of a thought or a question, like, does it actually make a difference? I mean, we can say, yeah, let's love people well, but does it actually matter? Does it actually make a difference? And to answer that, I want to think of it in 2 different ways. One way I want to think of it is kind of more of a one-on-one or like one on a couple. And one way I want to think of it is more corporate and big picture. So to illustrate the idea of the one-on-one, I'll just use a story that I heard a long time ago. The story goes like this. There's a father and a son, and they live on a rock outcropping near a beach. And one evening, there is a massive storm. And I mean, it blows for a whole day. The wind, the rain, the waves are huge, crashing against the beach and the rocks and everything else. And in the morning, the storm clears. And so the father grabs the son and says, let's go down to the beach. And so they run down to the beach. And when they get to the beach, they witness something they've never seen before. On the beach, on the sand, and on the rocks, there are thousands of starfish. They've been basically thrown out of the sea, and they're just on the land, and they're going to dry out and ultimately perish because of where they are. And so the father says to the son, let's start grabbing starfish. We'll just throw them all back into the water, and we'll save all these starfish. And so they go around, and they're throwing starfish in every which way and getting them back in the water. And then the son, a few minutes in, is like looking around going, dude, there's no way. So he says to his dad, is like, there's far too many starfish. There is no way we can make a difference with these starfish. And the father leans down and he picks up one starfish and shows it to the son. And he throws it into the water and he says, we may not be able to save every starfish, but we made a difference for that one. And I think that's the imagery of how we can love people well. We may not be able to help every single person out there, not even on our block or in our neighborhood or at our work, but we can make a difference for one. We can love one person who needs it well and make a difference in their life. And so when I think about this idea of loving well, I think of it at that one-on-one level like that. But I think a lot of people, and there's even like famous people in the country right now that have made statements like, you know, like loving people is just like that worked back in the, but that's not, like we need to get a different way to go forward as a church or as a body of believers. And I want to look at history and say, do Christians, when they love well, make a difference in a community, in a nation? Do they make a difference? I'd go back to the original church, the church that was founded as Jesus went back up into heaven. That church was in the Roman Empire. And I don't know how much you know about the Roman Empire, Roman history, but let's just say things were a little different. Like culture was different. I'll just give you a couple examples of things that were 100% acceptable in the Roman world that we would just like, there's no way. So one example of that, if you were sick, if you had a disease at that time, you didn't stay in your house and have people take care of you. You were ostracized to a colony of people, a camp outside the city. And you were sent there, and if you died, you died. That's just how life goes. And if you got healthy, then you could come back. There's no nursing people to health or hospitals or caring for the sick. That's not a concept that existed prior to Jesus. What about women? Women were viewed as about the lowest thing on the rung. They had no status in society. Women could not even testify in court. If a woman saw a murder, her testimony was invalid. It was worthless. Women had no posture in society at this time. Or what about little children? If a child was born to a family and they did not want the child, for whatever reason, like she was female, that's a good reason, or potentially she had a deformity or defect, or he was whatever, fully acceptable. Take the child, go out to the wilderness, set the child down, and go home. Now that, for us, we go, no way, there's no way that, yes, that's society at that time. And so these Christians, this little group of people are all of a sudden in that culture. And what do? When people get sick, they love on them and nurse on them. They care for them. They go out to the colonies and they try and get them to health and bring them back. Women have status in the church. They have a place in the church. They matter to the church. Those babies that get left in the wilderness, the Christians are going out there and picking them up. They adopt them. They bring them back to town. They take them in as their own at their own financial risk and everything else. They're taking care of other people's kids. And does that matter? Did that have an impact? When Jesus ascended into heaven after the resurrection, there's 120 Christians. 120. That's like the first 5 or 6 rows of this section. That's it. That's every Christian on the planet sitting right there. Okay? 7 years later, there's about 5,000 Christians. Okay, they're growing. That's cool. That's Glendive, Montana. You been to Glendive? Glendive's about to save the world. Glendive, Montana has 5,000 people. So in the next 200 years, you know what happens? Glendive, Montana turns into California. There are 33 million Christians 200 years later. 33 million. 5,000 people just loving and living countercultural and doing the things that Jesus called them to do. They're just loving people well. And the culture's like, that's weird. And then eventually the culture's like, well, it's kind of cool though. And eventually the culture's like, I want to be like that person. And that's what happens. What did those early Roman Christians not have? They did not have any power. They didn't have any authority in society. They had zero political influence. They had no wealth. Many of them were the outcasts. They were the poor and the marginalized. Yet all they did was love well. They did what their Savior asked them to do. And the impact was revolutionary. Those 33 million Christians that show up over the next 200 years, that turns into billions of Christians that have lived since. You think about that. They just did what they were asked to do. And our calling has not changed. Our ask, the ask that Jesus put on us, the command, it's no different. Love God, love people. Love God by obeying his word and doing what he asks, but love people by putting yourself down, not putting yourself down, but suppressing your selfish desires and raising up what other people need. So there's this idea of like Paul meets Jesus in a different trajectory, and it's fueled by love, and things are now lost and all of that. And I was trying to kind of figure out, how do you like cleverly leave you with something that you can remember, something that you can tangibly take away and think, oh yeah, I remember this is what I want to do. And so I was kind of lamenting the fact I was struggling with that with my wife and daughter over dinner, and they threw out a bunch of different ideas, and finally one kind of settled in for me. It involves peanut butter. That's where you thought I was going, doesn't it? It involves peanut butter. Now, I love peanut butter. I love peanut butter. I love peanut butter. It's so good. In fact, as you can tell, I love specifically Jiffy Extra Crunchy. Now, there are some of you out there, and I will love you well, but I know you love Skippy or Adams or maybe one of those almond butters, and it's cool. It's good. We can fellowship. But I'm telling you, you're missing out. Jiffy Extra Crunchy peanut butter is the bomb. And in fact, for a good portion of my life, every morning, like I would get up and it would be peanut butter on English muffin, peanut butter on toast, peanut butter on bagels. Cream cheese? No, thank you. Give me peanut butter on my bagels. Peanut butter is the bomb. So in 2009, son's old enough, and I'm like, it's time for my son to experience the joy of Jiffy Extra Crunchy peanut butter. So that morning, I get up and I toast his bread, and you got to make it just golden perfect. And the bread is good,
Awesome,
and I lather the peanut butter on there because, that whole, like don't be skimping on the peanut butter. You got to get it on there good, right? And then I cut it in triangles because only savages cut it in squares, right? Like this is going to be a moment he's going to remember for his whole life because he's going to be experiencing Jiffy Extra Crunchy peanut butter on toast. This is awesome. And I thought I was about to be the hero of the day. In the next 20 minutes, they couldn't have gone worse. At first, his lips began to swell. Then he starts to rub his eyes. Then he can't breathe. By the time the paramedics got there, we're losing it. We think we're going to lose our son. Now, thankfully, the paramedics do their thing, and epinephrine is a thing. But I'm telling you, it was a rough go. And we take the ride in the ambulance to the hospital, and they do all the stuff, but we didn't know. We didn't know that he has an anaphylactic allergy. So now we know. And as we come home from the hospital, the first thing we do is we grab the garbage can and we go in the pantry. Do you know how many things are in our pantry of peanuts? I mean, we're talking peanut oil, Snickers, Reese's peanut butter cups, granola bars, trail mix. We've got ice cream bars in the freezer. They got to go. And our extra crunchy Jiffy peanut butter, it's got to go in the trash. And there's no like remorse or sadness because that's loss. The thing that matters is that our son is safe.
Camera 5
healthy.
comms.
So
Thank you, 5.
peanuts are a loss. They are dead to us. And that's kind of what I imagine Paul thinking about when he thinks about Jesus. Like, he's going along that road, and now it's lost, that former life, the things that motivated him, the things that he thought mattered most. That's his former life. Those are a loss. Those are garbage. Now, Jesus is the thing that he has gained and moved on with. And as I just think about you and this week, this Holy Week, I think what I would love to leave you with is an idea of just doing some self-evaluation, doing some thinking. Find some time to slow down for a minute and just think about what are the things that I feel like matter most that I really need to take a second look at. What are the things in my life that I think matter most but maybe are actually a loss? Maybe I need to renounce those things that I may gain more of Christ, that Christ would be in me, that the surpassing knowledge of Jesus would be in me. What are those things? And so as you go through your Holy Week, my just encouragement to you or my challenge to you would be this. Think about those things in your life now that you value, that you think are most important. And pray about those things. Think about those things. Are they really the things that should be? Or are there people in your life that need to be loved better? Are there areas in your life that you need to step into and renounce the old and move to the new? Will you pray with me?
All right, one
Father God,
here.
I am thankful for this week, this Holy Week that you have set aside for us. And I ask, Lord, just as we reflect on this week, that you
All right,
would
cameras, we're going
be
to the last
present,
song
that
here,
you
the
would help
blessing.
us to
We have Brandon
slow
and Becca
down,
leading it.
and
Cam
you would help
6,
us to
we're gonna start with
identify the
heavy
things
keys
in
at
our
the beginning.
life
It's going to be
that
slow,
we
then
are
a big
holding
build up.
high value on, that are low value to you. I pray, Lord, that you would help us to find the things that are lost.
Just as a
and
heads
to
up,
renounce
Bridge
them, and to
1A
move
is about
closer
where
to you,
Becca
that
takes
you would
over.
draw us nearest yourself throughout this week.
Copy
In
that, thank you.
Jesus'
That's
name.
about halfway, right?
Amen.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. Start worship. Go.
1.
Thank you,
2.
Jonathan. Ready, 6.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
Take 6. Awesome. Ready, 1.
Verse 1.
Take 1.
The Lord bless you and keep
Ready, 4.
Make his face shine
Actually, ready,
upon
7.
you and be gracious to you.
Take 7.
Lord turn his face toward you
Ready, 2.
and give
Take 2.
you peace.
Ready, 6.
Chorus.
Take 6.
And
1.
Amen. Amen.
Ready, 4.
Amen.
Take 4.
Amen.
Ready, 7.
Verse 1.
Ready, 2, take 2.
The Lord bless you.
Ready, 7,
And keep you.
take 7.
Make his face shine upon you and be gracious
Ready, 1,
to you.
take 1.
Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
Ready, 6,
Chorus.
We agree, amen.
take
Build.
6. Ready, 1, take 1. Go back to brain, nice, yep. Ready, 7, take 7. Ready, 4, take 4.
Instrumental.
Ready, 5. Ready, 6, take 6. Ready, 4. 4, guitar there.
Bridge 1.
Sure, we go to 1. Take 1.
There's Becca. Good.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Ready, 7.
Bridge 1.
Here we go. 7, you're live. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready,
Bridge
2.
Hits.
Take 2. Ready, 5. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 7. Take 7. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 5. Take 5.
Coming up on ending
Ready, 7.
host.
Take 7. 1, you're freed up. Ready, 2. Take 2. And Go hosts.
Journey, just a couple quick reminders for you. First off, if you need prayer afterwards, there are people that will be at tables at the end of the stage, and we would love to pray with you if that's something we can do for you. Also, just want to thank you for your generosity. Like everything we do around here, whether it's Easter services or teams going to Bangladesh, is reliant on the fact that your generosity is there, and so we thank you for that. I also just want to make sure you know, if you're new and you're first-time visitor or recently just started coming to Journey, we have some tables right outside in the lobby. We'd love for you to stop by, love to introduce ourselves and just touch base, see how we could be of service to you. And then lastly, it is Holy Week, Friday, 6 p.m., right back here. No tickets are necessary on Friday, so come to Good Friday service. And then on Saturday and Sunday, 3 and 5 on Saturday, 9 and 11 on Sunday, you do need tickets. So get the QR code, get online, get that done, and we would love to see you there. Journey, have a great Holy Week.
And CG1, there we go. 3, 2, 1.
Camera 5, stepping off cameras.
Thank you, bud.
Good job, everybody. Thank you so much for serving this morning. It was a pleasure. Let me know if you have questions.
Pleasure working with y'all again.
Thank you, everybody, so much. It was a great Sunday morning.